A very good day to Dr. Wong and fellow presenter. Today, the topic that will be presented by our group is the new economic policy or NEP of Malaysia. Today's topic will be presented by the following members. The first one is Rachel Fernando Jafar. The second one is Muhammad Farid Ashraf bin Malan. The third one, me myself, Muhammad Syahrul bin Jakaria. The fourth one, Nur Syahira binti Razali. And lastly, Syaifzan Irfan bin Sailan. Next. Okay, now into some introduction. After the independence during the reign of Tun Abdul Razak as Prime Minister, Malaysians were first exposed to NEP by the government in 1970. In response to the consequences during the colonization, the government had to restructure a new policy, which is NEP. The problem has clearly persisted, particularly since the country's independence in 1969, where the government believed that failure to take an immediate action toward the problem may lead to the country's demise. The major problems that are very noticeable after the independence are in poverty, economic growth, ethnic crisis, and equity ownerships. Thus, the new policy is basically a package of long-term goal with the hope the policy is able to prevent the problem to be completely stopped or changed and from getting even worse. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, for the next slide is about the objective of new economic policy. For the first objective is to reduce and eventually eradicate the poverty regardless of various race in Malaysia. This objective can be done through the increase of income levels alongside the rising of employment opportunities for all citizens in Malaysia. The second objective is to accelerate the process of restructuring Malaysian society while at the same time fixing the economic imbalance. Therefore, the identification of race with economic function can be eventually being reduced as well as being eliminated. This all from me. Proceed to the next presenter.
Next, I will present about the development early years of the new economic policy. So, NEP has been introduced to address the economic imbalance issues among the various races in Malaysia. In the wake of the racial riots in 1969, the NEP was introduced in 1970. It aims to eradicate poverty regardless of gender, restructure society so that the country can develop with stable, secure. In addition to the results of the development can be enjoyed by all people. Malaysia's success in achieving economic growth along with distribution balance has been recognized by various parties, including the World Bank, and the NEP is an important element in this success. The most tangible and glorious success of the NEP has been the red cut poverty and improving the standard of Bumiputra education, and also reductions in the poverty rate, which is from 49.3% in 1970 to 5.7% in 2005. Meanwhile, modern facilities such as roads, schools, health clinics, electricity, and water supply has become a must for rural areas. The Bumiputra also get a higher education, like further their study until a university level. The NEP has also closed the income gap between Bumiputra and non-Bumiputra. That's all for the development early years of the new policy economic policy. Thank you.
The new economic policy implementation strategy is formulated and carried out through a two-pronged strategy. The objective is to create national unity by reducing economic, social, cultural, settlement, and so on differences. The first one is to eradicate poverty, and the second is to restructuring of the people, and the next for the physical development. Poverty is the main reason for dissatisfaction among the people. is not only available in the countryside but also in the city. This situation can threaten the unity of the country. Therefore, efforts have been made to solve socio-economic problems, and development projects have been designed to provide opportunity for the transfer of people working in the low productivity sectors to more lucrative sectors. The measure is to create employment opportunity for all unemployed people with the aim of increasing productivity and income as well as modernizing life in rural areas. Indirectly, it also improved the standard and the quality of life of the people through education, training, health infrastructure, and so more, and some assistance effort from government agencies. Finally, it can reduce the income gap between between race between urban and rural areas and between regions. Let's move to the next presenter.
Next, community restriction. The first NEP community restriction is reduce the inequalities among community, reducing inequalities in the current job in a gradual manner and through overall economic growth, such as that labor force position that was represented the number of races and also the distribution of income between all races are equal. Second was commercial and industrial community. This commercial and industrial community among Malay and Bumiputra have been created by the new economic policy so that the community can have account 30% of the economy through the development of a number of agencies such as MARA and Amanah Saham Nasional. The last one was state and area development. The new economic policy on community restructuring also develop the state and area through the regional development such as Dara, Kesedar, and Kejora. This is to closing the economic gap between the village resident and the urban resident. Next. The next one is physical development in education. The first one is Bahasa Malaysia as the main language. Bahasa Malaysia as the medium of instruction at all level schooling, from primary school to university level for Peninsula Malaysia, Sabah, and Sarawak. Second one is provide education to all students. This is to producing excellent students from all community, so there will be a balance between races in terms of employment and education. And the last development was the elimination quota for public school. This is to have a fair system education to all community. As before, the community like Chinese and Indian race have a limited quota to get in the school. So through the elimination of the quota, they will get the education better than before. That's all from me.
As a conclusion, the target of the new economic policy had been mainly on the eradicating of poverty, social issues, distribution of income among the poor Bumiputra, as well as the improvement on human resource development, plus the asset ownership among the Bumiputra. That's all from our group. Thank you very much.